Bftb, best fight the best. So we are about to look into the 10 greatest ducks of our era.
7,
Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton, aka Canadian geese. You know what I'm saying? Because they mate for life. So these are ducks for life. So let's just get right into it. In 2012, Rigo won the WBA super title. He defended it twice, then unified the WBO title with Donaire in 2013. Donaire made 1.32 million. Rigo made 750,000. With that being said, Donaire versus Rigo was a highly anticipated fight for everybody. And that type of fight doesn't happen often, with both guys agreeing to take career risk against one another. I mean, if they had those type of fights nowadays, we'd all be happy, but they don't. It's consistently ducking. But anyways, this was a fight that people wanted, and it got done. So Rigo defended his title again against Ajbeko, and then started calling out all the other top guys for unifications and other high-level clashes. So after the Rigo Donaire fight, everybody pretty much knew that Rigo was the best 122 pounder in the world. Period. So they started immediately talking about him fighting Leo Santa Cruz, who at the time was the WBC 122 pound champion. And he was calling out him for a unification fight. And Leo responded, he responded in March. They did an interview and he responded, saying that, yeah, he would love to fight Rigondeaux. He would love to fight. He would love that fight. But then he started with the excuses immediately. Rigo's promoter, Top Rank, doesn't currently do business with Santa Cruz promoter Golden Boy. So Santa Cruz then said he would love to fight the Cuban. I'd love to fight him. Then he said, I'd willingly be fighting him next. I'd fight him next, no problem. After I fight Christian Maharis, I'll fight him, no problem. No problem. Then he went on to have this little bullshit ass slogan. So he said, they say if I want to be the best, I have to beat the best. I've heard that I heard him saying that I'm scared of him, and I'm not scared. We have promoter issues, but if our promoter and manager can make the fight, I will fight him. If it was up to me, I will fight him whenever. If he leaves his promoter, or if they can make an agreement, then I will fight him whenever he wants. That's what Santa Cruz said. Now remember this. This is going to come back. A month later, April 6, 2014, right after Carl Frampton beat Hugo Caceres, Guillermo Rigondeaux came out and congratulated him. You know what I'm saying? He congratulated Carl Frampton, and he said, hey, congratulations, Carl. Now it's time to make a fight between you and me. And I'm willing to go to Belfast, Ireland. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to go to your country to fight you in your country for the WBA, WBO, and Ring World titles. He got no response. Carl Frampton wanted zero work. But we'll get into this. July 19th, 2014, Guillermo Rigondeaux blasted all of them. He blasted all the top guys because nobody was willing to fight him. He had 2 belts and he was the ring champion, and he was calling out the other champions for fights, and none of them wanted them. They avoided him. They act like they'd never heard anything about him. Didn't even want to talk about him, talked about other fights with other people. But Guillermo went on to say this: I am frustrated that the 2 other champions in my division will not step up to fight me in title unifications to determine the true world champion. I do not understand that mindset. How do you not want to prove you are the best? I do. The fans deserve better. The media should be holding them accountable. A real champion fights and accepts the challenges from the best in his division. Back in the day, world champions accepted the top challenges. I get criticized by the media for my style of fighting. Maybe the media should criticize the champions who deny the fights boxing fans crave. Now this right here, if you were to take this paragraph and put it in today's era, they would look at Rigo as the greatest thing since sliced cheese. But probably not, because it doesn't have the complexion for the protection. But still, just this paragraph right here says it all. It says it all. You have Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton, who are blatantly ducking unification, blatantly ducking undisputed, blatantly, and nobody said a word about it. They didn't even care. Didn't even care. Just, oh well, Rigo's boring. But he fought Nonito Donaire in a very entertaining fight because styles make fights. Styles. For months, Rigondeaux just kept blasting Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton. For months. Now, remind you, Leo said that he'd be willing to fight Guillermo Rigondeaux in his next fight after he fought Maharis. Well, he went on to then fight his sparring partner, a guy he sparred with, Manuel Roman. He went on to fight this guy. You don't want to fight your sparring partner. And his reasoning was, I decided to give him the opportunity because he's worked hard and he deserves it. What the fuck? He's worked hard and he deserves it. Well, you have Rigondeaux, the WBO and WBA and ring champion, calling you out for months, and you go to give it to your sparring partner because you decided to give it to him because he's worked hard and he deserves it. Bro, that is the one of the most blatant duck moves ever. But anyways, so then they go on to ask him about Rigondeaux, and he said, "Yeah, I'm annoyed." So he says, "It bothers me. I already said I'll fight him. It's not up to me because just because I say yes does not make it happen. I've got to talk to the whole team and my manager. It does bother me. So if I win this fight, I'm pushing to fight Rigo. I'm pushing for it soon. I think I have to pressure him and stay on top of him and not give him distance. I have to try to cut the ring off and go to the body and not let him move." This is what Leo said in September 8th, on September 8th, 2014. September 8th, 2014, this is what he said. Right? He fought Manuel Roman, and then right after that, he fought Jesus Ruiz. No motherfucking Rigondeaux in sight. This is what this dude says he's going to do. Oh, that's what you want. So first off, he's lying, because if the fighter says they do want this fight, and it don't matter about what Golden Boy says, because Canelo wanted Laura. Golden Boy did not want Canelo to fight Laura. When Laura shamed him, Canelo said, "Fuck that. I want this fight. I don't care what you guys say. This is the fight I want." And they made it happen. Don't miss me with that bullshit about, "Oh, well, I said yes, but it's not up to my team. They're the ones that say no." No, fighters fight. If a fighter says this is the guy I want, it's up to your team to go make that happen. The same way Canelo did with Laura. Miss me with that bullshit. You ducked Rigo. December 2014. All that shit about Leo Santa Cruz talking about what he would do to him and how he will fight him, and that's the fight he wants, blah, blah, blah. In December 2014, Leo Santa Cruz comes out and says, "Oh, Guillermo Rigondeaux, the people don't like his style. And I don't think that'd be an interesting fight." That's what Leo Santa Cruz says. That's what he says. I'm sitting here like, what? Dude, you literally just said in September that's the fight. Matter of fact, before that, you said that's the fight you wanted, and you're willing to have that fight next. Then September, you're talking about how you can beat the man, and now here in December, you're saying the people don't like his style, and I don't think that'd be an interesting fight. Okay, well, Guillermo Rigondeaux was fighting Hisashi Amagashi. That's who Guillermo Rigondeaux was fighting, and he was fighting him on December 31st. Right? He said he is willing to fight you in the very next month, in January. Now, he's fighting you on New Year's Eve. He was fighting. He was willing to fight in Leo Santa Cruz's next fight, which was 3 weeks away. Instead of Leo Santa Cruz fighting him on 3 weeks' notice, he went and fought Jesus Ruiz. Another absolute duck. Now, Leo Santa Cruz had a fight January 17th against a bum. Well, on the 28th, on January 28th, 2015, they started talking. Oh yeah, well, we're interested in making the Santa Cruz versus Rigondeaux fight. All right, that's what they were saying. Now, remember now, Leo Santa Cruz himself said he is willing to fight. He wants to fight Rigo, but the reason why he couldn't fight Rigo is because it was manager problems. It wasn't up to him. Blah blah blah. His promotion and Top Rank didn't work together. Golden Boy and Top Rank didn't work together. Yada yada yada. Blah blah blah. Right? Well, Rigondeaux's contract with Top Rank expired in August of 2014. And now this is January 2015 now. And they're like, oh yeah, well we're looking for this and blah blah blah. We're interested in this fight, yada yada yada. That's what they're saying. They're saying they're interested, right? So Rigo said, it's good to know the Santa Cruz promoter has stated that our unification fight has to happen. I want to add his WBC title to my WBA and WBO collection. I've wanted this fight for some time. Let's hope this is just not idle talk. That's what Rigondeaux said, right? Well, right after that, Leo Santa Cruz fought Jose Cayetano, another bum. That's who he fought. Jose Cayetano, a bum. He moved up. He fought him at 125, so not full 126, but he moved up and fought him at 125. Like, bruh, what happened to you will fight him if he doesn't have the same promoter? Because Top Rank and Bob Arum and Oscar De La Hoya. What happened to that? What happened to you wanting this fight and it's against the promoters? I don't run this. I want this and blah blah blah. What happened to all that? This nigga's full of shit. Coward. So after months and months and months of Rigo chasing Leo officially moved up to 126. Even though he was weighing 125, he still moved up to 126. Fought a few bums and went after Morris, which is what they were planning on doing all along. They were never planning on fighting Rigo, but it didn't stop the people from asking them questions. And this is how Leo responded.
Leo, I just saw your face when they showed you the WBC belt. You glowed. You hold the title at 122. Ruiz and Ceja are fighting for the interim belt at the same weight class right before you. What's your plan, win or lose? Do you want to go back down to the lower weight class? You said you don't have any problem making the weight for this division. What's your goal, win or lose?
Yeah, no, my goal, win or lose, is hopefully everything goes good. We want to look for the next title in 126. If everything goes good this fight, we look really good and everything. We want to stay at 126 and look for another title. Like you said, if we lose, well, yeah, maybe we go back down to 122 and right there, but we don't know yet. We'll see what happens and we'll use up for anything.
You mentioned that Morris is the toughest challenge up to this point. Aside from him, who have you faced that has given you a good battle and that you thought might actually prepare you for this fight?
Well, again, Ceja. He was because he moved a lot. He was lefty. He moved a lot. He made me chase him and everything. So that was a really tough fight. But from there, we in the gym we practice how to fight those kind of fighters, and we have learning a lot of things.
Is that part of the reason why you wouldn't want to face Rigondeaux? Lefty moves a lot.
Yeah, no, because those kind of also the style. But if it was up to me, I would fight Rigondeaux. I'll fight him anyway because Mexicans, they don't back up for nobody. I will fight him, but my team, they tell me not to fight him, and if they don't want me to, I can't do nothing about it. But I'm hopefully in the future I'm gonna keep pushing for that fight, and hopefully he can move up in weight, or we can fight any way he wants. We'll make that fight.
Thank you, Leo.
This nigga's scared.
Carl Frampton and Scott Quigg. April 14th, 2015. Rigondeaux went to the UK. He went to London in order to confront Scott Quigg. Now, and I understand the reason why he did this. He went there because Scott Quigg was his mandatory. So Guillermo Rigondeaux was trying to shame Scott Quigg, the mandatory, into fighting him. Well, Rigo didn't go, but he was going to go. But instead of Scott Quigg fighting him, Scott Quigg went on to fight somebody else. He went on to fight Kiko Martinez. That's who Scott Quigg decided to fight. So instead of him, you become a mandatory. you become a mandatory to fight for the title. So Scott Quigg was the regular WBA, the WBA champion, the regular WBA, and he was the mandatory to the super WBA champion. He was the regular, the super was Rigondeaux. That fight was mandated. Scott Quigg wanted no smoke at all. So Scott Quigg ducked him instead of fighting him and went and fought Kiko Martinez. He went and decided to fight Kiko. So Guillermo Rigondeaux was the champion, was desperately trying to fight his mandatory. The mandatory did not want to fight the champion. You are the mandatory for the belt and you did not want to fight it. So instead, you fought Kiko Martinez. Now, to add insult to injury, to add insult to this, Guillermo Rigondeaux, the WBA super champion, was petitioning the WBA to enforce their mandatory with Scott Quigg and him and Rigo. They were petitioning the WBA. They went to the WBA and petitioned them to enforce the mandatory. This is for everybody that thinks the WBA is so great. All right. The WBA then stripped Rigondeaux for being inactive, yet he fought one time every single year and was trying to fight his mandatory and was trying to unify with the other champions. They stripped him of the WBA super title and gave it to Quigg, who ducked him. Barry Hearn negotiated with McGuigan for Carl Frampton, who ducked Guillermo Rigondeaux, to fight Quigg, who ducked Guillermo Rigondeaux, for the WBA super title that Rigo never lost. Again, this is the WBA belt that Rigo has defended one time every single year. But they stripped him of it for inactivity. Yet you have Keith Thurman, who hasn't fought in 2 years. Didn't fight in 2 years. They didn't do nothing. But whatever, whole nother topic. But Rigondeaux fought one time every year defending his title while trying to unify and trying to have his mandatory fight him, actively and aggressively going after his mandatory, willing to fight his mandatory in the UK. And his mandatory turned him down, fought a bum, and then had Barry Hearn and McGuigan negotiate for the WBA to elevate the winner of Quigg versus Frampton, the WBA super title. Carl Frampton beat Scott Quigg, which shifted Rigondeaux's focus completely to Carl Frampton. He didn't give a fuck about Scott Quigg no more. Fuck Scott Quigg. He wanted Carl Frampton. And Carl Frampton straight up ducked this man. And don't believe me. Listen for yourself.
You know, I know it's not this kind of big money fight and it's high risk, low reward, but since the fight, Rigondeaux or whoever runs his Twitter account has called to fight you again. Do you see that fight happening in the future, or?
I don't know. Look, I'm happy to fight anyone, and I genuinely am. I would fight anyone, but I want to be involved in exciting fights. You know, I had a bit of a stinker with Scott Quigg, and I didn't want to be involved in another fight with Rigo that would have been another stinker. And then people started to think this guy is boring, and they started to not like me. You know, so I want to be involved in big fights, and whoever my team put in front of me, and this is an important thing, and I don't think boxers speak about it enough. I have a young family. I have 2 young kids and a wife at home. I want to be financially rewarded because this is a short career. I'm 29. I have a few years left in me. I want to live a comfortable life after boxing. Rigo doesn't bring a pound to the table. That's just the way it is.
Really good.
He's an unbelievable fighter, but I'm being honest. There's no money in the fight.
It's one of the best things I've ever heard.
Thank you.
So then the two cowards decided to move completely out of the weight class and fight each other. They made multiple excuses about them not wanting to fight Rigo after saying they do want to fight Rigo. They'll fight him anywhere and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The man Rigondeaux was going all over the world chasing these dudes down. They wanted no smoke with him. So they ended up moving up and fighting each other. Absolute disgusting disgrace. And then on top of that, this pussy ass nigga called Frampton ended up fighting Donaire, who Rigondeaux destroyed. So you fought Rigondeaux's leftovers instead of fighting Rigondeaux. Pathetic, man. Absolutely pathetic. This dude is a fucking disgrace. Leo Santa Cruz is a disgrace. Both of these dudes are fucking cowards. They wanted no smoke with Rigondeaux. Well, you know, it's a business, but I just want to fight the best, and that's all I want to do. And Frampton doing the same shit. Oh, you know, I'll fight anybody, you know, but my team. Both of them say the same shit. Oh, but my team says, you know, my team. Like, get out of here, bro. You're both fucking cowards. You duck Rigondeaux. You wanted no smoke. That man would have destroyed both of you. I think he still destroys both of you motherfuckers. But it is what it is, man. And I'm on to the next.